Mahesh, just for, I don't know if you've been in one of these before, you probably haven't. So essentially what we'll do today is usually I'll just kick off with a little bit of an intro, explain and give an overview of what this talk is kind of about to everyone in the audience. Carl then usually jumps in and discusses about the DGP and recent grants and everything going on there, which is exciting. And then it would be great just to dive into you, really, dive into your background, dive into Karma and everything exciting that you're working on. So just to provide everyone in the audience a bit of a TLDR, I think most people here in the audience have probably been to one of these before, but essentially we'll do an open AMA at the end of this. So in 25 minutes or so, after we've had an in-depth convo, if anyone wants to ask Carl or Mahesh anything, then feel free to put your hands up and ask away. And I'm sure both of them will be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Alternatively, I've seen now that in the side of here, there's a chat in this Discord. So feel free to ping your questions in here, and we can also bring you up and answer them here if you don't want to speak on the speaker. And then lastly, for us, this is being recorded as well, so we will publish this on YouTube after. And thanks, Carl, there. He's just put up a dashboard for everything that Mahesh has built at Karma, which is really exciting. I, for one, was really excited about this grant, and I'm really impressed about how the dashboard's been built out, and definitely use this to see who the contributors are in the dYdX ecosystem. So really impressed and really happy with how that's come out. Carl, I guess I'll hand over to you first. Do you want to give a bit of an update on everything DGP, and then we can pass over to Mahesh?
Yeah, sounds great. As always, thank you very much for the help hosting and moderating these AMAs. Yeah, really appreciate it, James. I can share a quick update and some numbers on grants. So obviously grants P1.5 was renewed just over a month ago. And since then we've approved 6 grants. But in March this past month, we had 5 new grants approved for $190,000 in funding. That brings our total now to 100 grants, actually, is the total number, which is pretty exciting, with just over 3.1 million in total funding. We're super excited to be moving into a new area of focus for grants, protocol infrastructure. As we get closer to mainnet, we're putting more focus on helping kind of the development and infrastructure for the underlying dYdX protocol to support technical development and open source efforts on both the underlying protocol and kind of software relating to general Cosmos SDK development. So we had the Strangelove Relayer and CCTP, which is cross-chain transfer protocol, being built in this last grant round, and that's, to keep it very brief, is going to help Ethereum users deposit ERC20 USDC into the new dYdX protocol in kind of a very seamless and easy way, and then they'll be able to transition in and out without any sort of disruption, so that we can maintain the existing user base without them having to continuously bridge over their tokens and kind of lose out on that UX. And then we also have a grant on Cosmos SDK development to prioritize the shipping of vote extensions, which is going to be a really key piece of kind of open source infrastructure that can help with a lot of the V4 development. So super excited to kind of have unlocked that as we head into testnet territory and eventually mainnet. There's going to be a lot of room for productive grants there, which is great. Right now we have our sights on 4 different RFPs: permissionless markets research, LP rewards, formula reconfigurations, front-end deployments, and indexer deployments. We're actively recruiting for these grants. So if anyone here is listening, or if anyone here is listening that is interested, or if you know of somebody that could be a good fit, please give us a shout, and we'll gladly talk through that. You can also find them on dYdXgrants.com on the initiatives page. And then we're also exploring some kind of new community initiatives with workshops and events, and potentially some different competitions that we can host through the grants program to kind of continue driving engagement and participation at all levels. That should shape up in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned there. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Don't want to keep going too long. I can hand it back to you, James.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, really excited about that. And so, best place for people to reach out, normal through Discord? Is it DMs is best place to grab you?
Yeah, feel free to ping us either on the Grants channel if you want to DM me directly with an idea or a question. I'm always open. Yeah, I would say either of the two is a great place.
Fantastic. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate that update. That was great. Cool. Over to you, Mahesh. I think, first of all, it would just be really great just to hear a bit about you, a bit about your background, and then we can dive into Karma.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, James. And yeah, my name is Mahesh Murthy. I'm the founder of Karma. My background is I'm a dev. I've been writing code for a long time. I got into crypto in 2014-ish, I would say. Just like a lot of devs came across a Bitcoin white paper on Hacker News. I don't know how many people here know about Hacker News. It used to be this place where all the devs used to hang out. I read the paper, got hooked into it. Didn't do much because with Bitcoin, I couldn't really do as a dev, write any code or program it easily. So, but I was still interested and I kind of kept tabs with it. And then when Ethereum came out, I started learning Solidity. I started writing smart contracts. I started building toy applications, trying to figure out like to get my head around like what does this even mean? What does a blockchain platform mean? So I spent a lot of time on that, and then I started writing on Medium of all the things I was learning, and a lot of devs started asking me to like write more and publish more. So I started a company on the side to teach Solidity programming. So I did that for a while I was a co-founder of another company. And then in around 2020, 2021 is when I jumped full-time into 24/7 into crypto, I would say. But I've been around for a while. That's my quick background.
Awesome. Super interesting. Yeah, I can tell that you've been around for a while, and even with our conversations in the past, it's really evident that you and the team have been kind of really deep into these sort of tech projects. I guess, yeah, I would love to dive into the details of Karma, explain kind of what it is for the people who haven't used it yet, and why and when this was started.
Yeah. So Karma is a contributor platform, a DAO contributor platform where we index all the contributions of the DAO members and surface all the insights about it through a custom dashboard. And the DAOs and the community use this to understand who the contributors are, what kind of contributions are they making, and then it acts almost like a visibility platform for the DAO and the community, and to the contributors, like almost like a resume of like, here are all my contributions. It's all aggregated and displayed in one place. I can take this with me, show it to other people. Like if you're looking for work in another DAO, you can go show there your profile. So it acts as a contributor tracking platform, I would say, which is useful for both the DAOs and the members.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Sorry, go on, Mahesh.
And then the way we got started was back in 2021, late 2021. There was an ENS airdrop, and during that process, you had to claim the airdrop, and then you had to delegate your tokens to these delegates. As you're basically assigning your voting power to someone. And I've been thinking about reputation in DAOs and the contributor reputation for a while, but that was like the moment when I was like, it all like kind of came together. And while I was going through that flow of claiming tokens and delegating, I wasn't sure who to delegate my tokens to. That's really where like this whole thing like came together and Karma like started. because to solve that problem, I was like, what if I could just simply look at these contributors, like, or the delegates, see what they've been doing, like go look on the forum, see their activity, go look at like snapshot if there was any, like look at their activity there, like what if we could just look at all their activity and put it all together and show that, and then make it easy for people to delegate their tokens. So that's where it started. It was really to solve my own problem. I just quickly spent a week or two just hacking together a solution. Like just went and scraped the forums, scraped all these voting systems, pulled together and built a dashboard, and then shared it with the ENS community. And they really liked it. They were like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Like this is an interesting way to look at contributor activity." So that's how I got started. And then turned out Gitcoin was doing something similar. They were doing a lot of these things manually. So we started like working with them, automated that whole thing. And then that's where it all started. And then we started indexing more systems, and then added more complex like scoring algorithm and things which we'll go through later. But essentially that's how I got started.
Yeah, that's incredibly interesting. I think, yeah, DAO contributor reputations is something, a pain point that a lot of protocols are probably trying to figure out of who their top community members are being. What type of other protocols have you been working with? How have they kind of been leveraging this tool, and are you finding that contributors themselves are using this platform as well?
Yeah, so we work with a wide uh, range of DAOs. Like some DAOs, like the DeFi DAOs, like obviously dYdX, and there's like Idle Finance. There's the DAOs like Gitcoin. There is Starknet. We just onboarded Element Finance. So like a wide range of DAOs use our system, and the way and the use cases are like vast. Like once you like have this contributors indexed and shown in one place, like you can do a number of things. So for example, Idle Finance last year ran this experiment called governance mining, where they wanted to encourage more participation from the contributors. So they were looking at our data on a month by month basis, and the top contributors who are active on the forum or active on social or active on Discord, or actively voting. So they looked at those contributors, and the top 5 contributors were like getting some tokens airdropped. That's how they were like, they wanted to kickstart the DAO and make it more active. So that's how they used it. A lot of DAOs use us for delegation. So you're a token holder. So you go to the dashboard and then look at all the delegates, how they're performing. Have they been active on the forum? Have they been active in governance, voting on proposals? Based on that, we show all these stats. Based on that, you can delegate your tokens. So that's a use case. There are a few DAOs we are working with, which is like a super interesting use case. Is you might not be a large token holder, you might not be a big, you're not a whale with a lot of tokens, or you might not have a lot of token voting power, but you might be an incredible contributor. You are like answering questions on Discord, like a lot of doing all the activity on the forum, like on Twitter, you're like very active, helping the protocol. So can we index some of that contribution and give them more voting power based on their contribution, and instead of just how many tokens they own? So we're trying to we're experimenting with like a few DAOs we're like working with to figure that out. That is like something I'm personally excited about, which will help us like move away from just like tokens and actual contributors, and for their contribution getting rewarded and having a say in the protocol.
Yeah, that seems really impactful, and I think a lot of contributors who do provide value, like you said, who spend time, who have the capability, but potentially don't have the token holdings to affect governance. It's showcasing that these guys can play a big role, and that a protocol and or DAO may be favoring, or at least kind of, I guess, finding out who these impactful contributors are and trying to level them up in per se. That is super interesting. I guess based on that, then, do you want to touch on the kind of weighting factors that you guys can allow and can potentially affect through the site itself?
Yeah. So the way the product works is we usually work with the DAOs and say what are all the activity we want to index. So it could be we look at your on-chain voting activity, on snapshot off-chain activity, your forum activity, where we say here are all the proposals you're giving feedback on, or here is all like the comments you're making, how many likes you received on the forum. And then on Discord, are there specific channels where there is like high signal to noise ratio where like you're contributing? So we look at like some of your Discord activity. And then once we aggregate all of those stats, what we do is we assign different weights to these metrics, and we work with the DAOs. Each DAO is different, so it's very custom to each DAO. We can say, okay, like the most impactful thing you can do is vote on-chain proposals, or give feedback on the forum for proposals. So you can assign a heavy weight to that. And then based on these metrics and weights, we sum those, and then we get a score. That's like your DAO score. So that's like at a very, very high level, like how the scoring works, which is also displayed on the dashboard. So if you click on any profile card, there is a score on the top right. You can click on that score, and it'll give you a clear breakdown of what your individual metrics are, how much weight was assigned to it, and what's your total score. And it also shows the algorithm which was used for calculating the score.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, for example, if a protocol felt that they wanted to favor users who sort of contributed more on Commonwealth, the score could be weighted more towards those posts potentially.
Exactly, yeah. And we have a pretty good integration with Commonwealth. Like obviously dYdX uses, and like few other DAOs use Commonwealth. In Commonwealth, we can also say not just like how many comments you've posted. We obviously like eliminate like a lot of like the spam comments, and like we look for like quality. But not only that, like we also look at different categories in Commonwealth. In your forum, like you have different categories, and we can say if you were like someone who initiated a proposal and that proposal went for a vote, that is a pretty high impactful like contribution. So you get more like weight for that compared to any other like a random comment, right? So that's how we do for like forums.
That's really interesting.
Do you mind if I hop in here real quick, James, just to confirm? Because Mahesh, actually, we had spoken about this when you were initially building it out, but the community has voted in favor of migrating our forum to Discourse. And so I just wanted to confirm with you that Discourse is equally... like we'll be able to measure just as easily using Discourse. I think you might even have said it could make it easier. But
I just came across that yesterday. Like I know you guys are moving to Discourse. We do have a pretty good integration with the Discourse forum because probably like 80-90% of the DAOs we work with are on Discourse forum. The same things which I just talked about, like literally those things also exist on Discourse. So it should be
perfect. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so we'll just work with you to kind of migrate that component of it so that Discourse can continue to be measured accurately.
Awesome. And
Sorry, James, just wanted to confirm that.
no worries, thanks, Carl. And Mahesh, this one's kind of just throwing the ball out there. I know everyone at the moment is very kind of obsessed with like ChatGPT and all those kind of AI integrated systems. For yourself, obviously, you're currently measuring sort of contributor, I guess, volume and quantity. Is there an ability in the future to potentially measure somehow like quality of posts in some capacity or anything along those lines? And that's, I'm not sure if that is even possible, but I just thought I'd throw it out there as a question.
Yeah, that's a great question. And funnily, this is like the third person who has asked me this question in this week. So we are, it is in the roadmap for this quarter to actually measure the quality of the contribution. And there is, for this specific use case, even before like ChatGPT like took off, like there's a lot of like sentiment analysis and like with machine learning models already out there, which are pretty good. So we are actually like looking at some of these machine learning models to see what makes a good quality comment or a post in a forum versus something else, right? So we are going to like train the models and actually use it. So this quarter we are planning to release that feature.
Awesome, that's really exciting. Yeah, would love to be kept in the loop there. I guess then also, I mean, that's a lot on its own, but are there any other future plans for you at Karma? Yeah, what does the future hold for you guys?
Yeah, like we have so the first priorities are like the main thing is like we are like onboarding more DAOs and offering these dashboards to their communities. But like feature wise, like the few things which I'm like really excited about are, one is ChatGPT. We are already experimenting by using it for summarizing the proposals. So for example, like a lot of times on the forum, there is a proposal, there is like a long discussion. People don't have the time to actually like read through the whole thing. So can we like easily like summarize it and give them like a paragraph of like what the whole discussion is about, and then help them get started? So that's one. And then there are a few other places where that is like one of the biggest use case, I think, which like DAOs have asked us for, and some of the operators in the DAO have asked us. So we are tinkering with that. And then more advanced stats. So in fact, yesterday we released more analytics for the contributors, voting patterns. So it's also pushed on dYdX dashboard. If you go on any profile vote stats, you can see their breakdown of like how they have voted on different proposals, how many yeses, how many nos, how their delegation has been changing. And then another really interesting thing, which we just are experimenting, you can see on the dashboard today, is something called the contrarian index. It tells you how these contributors are voting on proposals. Like, are they always voting the way the majority votes, or are they going against the majority? So sometimes, like, are you like a contrarian? Like, how often are you disagreeing with the majority and voting against it? So that's an interesting measurement. So we are like trying to explore that space and doing some things there. So yeah, that's one. And then another one is which I'm personally excited about is the just the communication between like delegates and the delegators or the contributors. A lot of them don't want to dox themselves. So wallet to wallet messaging and communication. There are a lot of protocols and a lot of tools which are coming out. So we are exploring a couple of them to integrate into the dashboard itself.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's a lot of interesting use cases. I'm just on the dashboard now. I really like the I really like the voting history page. I think it's just really well laid out. I love how you can see, like you said, this new contrarian index, the amount of delegated votes, the breakdown. I just think it's really well laid out, and it's something that dYdX hasn't had in the ecosystem, where people can have just a one-stop shop for everything involved in governance and contributors. So it's really kudos for that. I guess last few questions for me. Like, is there any case where kind of users can game the system when kind of DAOs seek top tier contributors? I know we kind of briefly touched on kind of summarizing things. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
So there are ways to game it, but there are also ways like we are like tackling those. So for example, like someone could just simply go post a whole bunch of comments on the forum and like try to like go up to the top, right? Like they used to be able to do that like maybe like 8 months ago in our system, but not anymore. So we first of all like cap how much you can get from each metric. So even if like go spam a lot, like you'll probably get banned. But even then, you'll probably you cannot move the needle that much with the scoring, because the scoring is a combination of all different metrics. So that's one. And then right now we already look at like a lot of like qualitative things of like how your contribution is. Not only that, like once we add a lot of these ML models, like that also improves the quality more. So the short answer is like you can game it a little bit, but you can never get to the top of the leaderboard by gaming. Like you can go from like the 100th to a 70th maybe, but like if you want to be in like the really top ones, like it's hard to game there because it's a combination of a lot of metrics.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Thanks, Mahesh. And then I guess last two from me before I open up to Carl and all the rest of the floor is, like, what are your views of DAOs in general? Like, are there any use cases in terms of DAOs out there that you think are killing it in terms of just general functioning? Yeah, I'm just curious for your 2 cents on DAOs in general.
We think a lot about this, and as you like, since you're also like part of this, like you have seen how the DAOs are evolving. I think if like public goods are like a classic use case for like DAOs, like if they need to be like governed by the community, or like it's not like one team making decisions. So that's like a natural use case for a DAO. And then as soon as like something is open source, a lot of people like rely on it, and also you want strong network effects and like a strong community. And if you truly believe in like community owned, DAOs become like a logical like for those products or for those communities. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, that was great. I think agree. I think it definitely is like public goods as a kind of service in a sense is definitely beneficial in that realm. We're also really excited about trying to sort of contribute to the DAO growth, and I know a lot of teams here are also doing similar. So I think it's exciting times for everyone in this landscape. I guess lastly, before I pass it to Carl, is where can people find you and the team? Like, where are you most active? Where can people find out about Karma and yourself specifically?
Yeah. So easiest is if you want to learn more about Karma, like our website, karmahq.xyz. That will be the best place. And then we are fairly active on Twitter as well. So it's karmahq_ is our Twitter handle. We also have a Discord where feel free to like join and ask any questions. We are pretty active there. So Twitter and Discord are probably the two best places, I would say.
Awesome. Fantastic. Carl, anything else to ask from your end?
I don't have anything immediately. Happy to open things up. I think, we really enjoyed working with Mahesh and the whole Karma team on this dashboard. I'm really excited to have it continue to play an important role in delegation and contributor scoring. And I think we'll definitely be working more with Mahesh to make sure we can migrate to discourse and then look for the V4 migration as well as to move towards Cosmos based, and at which point it'll get very interesting as well as we start to insert validators and that sort of thing. So it could be really interesting to look at contributor participation on that front also.
Yeah. So it's been a pleasure working with you guys, and thanks for answering all my questions throughout this process. And we have also started talking to a few Cosmos chains as well. So it'll be great continuing to working with you guys.
Nice. Yeah. Exciting. Yeah, happy to open it up here if anybody else has any questions for Karma team or Grants or this dashboard.
Yeah, great. So all the questions, guys, please feel free to raise your hand and I will bring you up onto the stage. Please make sure the questions are either grants or Karma related. I will bring you up, Albert. I'll bring you up now. Hey, Albert.
Hi, how are you? I just had a quick question. This is related to the NFT project. Is that okay if I ask you about that?
The hedgies?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So, when it comes to grants, are you giving out any grants for the hedgies? And I see that you have art and whatnot, but for example, you don't have a separate community and a separate Discord and a separate project entity. It seems it's kind of mixed, if I'm not mistaken. I was wondering if you have any plans to integrate that. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Albert. Carl, I don't know if you want to answer for the hedgies grants, but I can just quickly touch on the Discord. We have a.
Sure.
Oh, sorry, you go first.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Albert, we have a. I just want to double check we have it. A hedgie specific community channel. It isn't locked or gated or anything like that. The hedgies, I think, are in a little bit of an in status quo moment right now as dYdX trading. I don't think has put any comms out with regards to sort of future utility. But the hedgies are an active community within the dYdX ecosystem, very much valued from our perspective. But at the moment, I probably can't answer your question more specifically. There is only one Discord, that is the dYdX one, where hedgies are active. But we do have a hedgie huddle that goes on every week. I think that went on this morning, or yesterday, or today, sorry. Sorry, I'm getting confused on days and times. But yeah, very active community. Feel free to join in. You don't have to hold a hedgie, but there are hedgies that are given away by the dYdX Foundation for governance initiatives on a weekly basis. That has slowed down probably over the last 6 weeks, and there hasn't been any given out, but we'll start to ramp up the distribution of those. I think we still have around 40 left to give out pre V4, so we've got 5 months to give those away. So feel free to reach out, contribute, and I think utilizing the Karma dashboard is a really great use case for us to distribute hedgies to. So yeah, feel free to reach out. There are a lot of hedgies even in this audience now that, for example, Ruslan, Alexios, Immutable Lawyer, all are active, and Hamster, and Sprudchenko. So feel free to reach out to any of them and they can help you as well. Sorry, Carl, I'll pass it over to you.
No, yeah. So on the grant side, it's a bit similar right now, given that we are in this transitory state with regards to V4 and the open question of what will be the future of hedges. Cosmos does have CosmWasm 721 tokens, which is effectively a mirror of the ERC 721 token contract. So in theory, there is this opportunity for us as a community to migrate our hedgie NFTs to Cosmos and see if there's a way to leverage utility within the new dYdX protocol as a result. My guess is it's just a little bit too early for that. We've started to look into it a little bit ourselves as opportunities to start funding research and kind of eventually, potentially, looking to have somebody build out the contract and kind of the bridge that would allow hedgy owners to go back and forth if that's something that we as a community think would be beneficial. So, I would say we definitely are open to it, but given the current position that we're in, we're not, it's probably not something that we're actively funding, but previously we have looked at ways that we can leverage hedges and fund grants that make use of them as a community building and protocol initiatives tool, definitely. Because echoing James, they play a significant role in our community and protocol, and we look to make use of that.
Thanks, Albert. Just noticed your comment as well. Yeah, sorry, it is closed, but we can potentially look at starting one just for chat in the general channels. Cool. Immutable Lawyer, I'll pull you up.
Yep. Hello, guys.
Hi.
First, excuse me if there is any background noise, because I'm at home at the moment. With regards to the hedges, there's Carl, the gravity bridge that you might want to take a look at. They're working on cross-chain implementation of ERC 721s between Cosmos and Ethereum. That's just something I know that Nick was looking into. So if you want even to talk to Nick about it, I think he'd be very interested in working on that.
Awesome.
Very interesting innovation, I think. With regards to Karma, I think it's a very interesting project that I have never come across in the past. But even looking at their platform, I think it will be very beneficial to incentivize contribution, maintain an adequate and consistent level of contribution, and maybe in the future even try to determine voting power based on that contribution. And my question for Mahesh was, is there any research being carried out within the Karma team at the moment to possibly come out with a way of, instead, because right now, naturally, the industry standard, it's not the ideal, but it's the way it is one token, one vote. In most cases, because there is one token, one vote, but then there's voting based on lockup periods and all these intricacies. But is there any research being carried out of increasing voting power linked to a wallet based on a user's contribution within a particular ecosystem, project, platform, whatever it may be?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have we've been wanting to do this for a long time. We've been talking to a number of DAOs, trying to convince them. One of the DAOs who has Element Finance has this concept of voting vaults, and you can build a vault and based on someone's contribution and give them voting power. So that's the one thing which we are actually working with, and if that will also adopt it. But we need the infrastructure to do, and we would love to work with DAOs on doing it, because as you just said, one person, one vote works, but it has its flaws, and we can do better, giving more power to the contributors and based on their activity. So yeah, we have all the tools to make that happen.
Yeah, keen to hear. I look forward to see what you guys come up with. Well done. Thanks a lot. Thanks, James. Thanks Carl.
Brilliant. Cool. I guess we can call that a day. Thank you everyone in the audience for turning up and asking your questions. Mahesh, thank you very much for coming on and talking through that. Really enjoyed hearing your story and the success and all the future plans of Karma. Really excited to continue to be in touch and seeing you guys flourish over the next few years. Carl, as usual, thanks for coming on and playing a role in grants as well. Excellent.
And I wanted to just thank you all for bringing me on here, and then also for the grants team for the grant. And it was really amazing working with you all. So, and I look forward to continuing to work together.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Mahesh. Really enjoyed working with you as well. And James, as always, thank you so much for hosting and moderating. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thanks, everyone. I'm closing this off now. See you next time.
Cool.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Mahesh.
Thank you.